Hi there, I'm Emily Haines from Metric, and this is A-Side.
I've been such a fan of Metric forever. Fantasies is like one of those rare albums that like there's literally no notes that I can give. And it's like one of those rare albums that I always come back to. So thanks for that.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's funny when the goal is to make music last,
Yeah.
and we're fortunate enough to have been together now for 25 years, this band. So, and
Yeah.
on our 10th album, we're able to see some of these really we achieved what we were trying to do, which is a little tricky, I think, in the genre that we're in. Like, whenever I try to, people casually, if they aren't familiar with the band, it's like, what's the genre? And it sounds so kind of mundane to me. It's
Sure.
just like, oh, I guess it's like indie dance rock or something. It's like, oh, that sounds really superficial. But I
Yeah.
can I can tell by speaking with you that you are someone who understands the depth of what we're trying to express sonically and lyrically.
Sure. And I think the best music being made is like the music that you can't kind of describe and
Right, true.
and you struggle with describing. I think that's the best kind of music, you know.
Okay, good. Yeah, where the definition sort of diminishes it somehow.
Sure. Like I think it's always easy it's easier to describe the bands like they sound like Whitney Houston meets, Bon Jovi. Which by the way, tell me what band that is.
I
Um,
mean, that would be a really fun sort of riddle
right?
to explore.
So t tell me what is the vibe like going into the studio knowing it's your 10th album? Like, is there any added pressure or anything? Or like, oh my God, we got to get this one right? Because 10 is like kind of a magic number, right?
It's definitely a milestone. I mean, it's interesting that you started our conversation talking about fantasies because that's kind of what we did too. We just kind of looked back and we were like, what's the era that we feel most connected to?
Yeah,
We've explored so much sonically and evolved as people, and it really is that fantasy synthetica 1-2 punch
sure.
that we seem to return to. And so, what we did for this new album for Romanticize the Dive is well, romanticized that time and we actually put the team back together that made those albums. So, that in this case, that was how we started out, was going back to Electric Lady in New York. We brought back in John O'Mahony, the mixer. We brought back in Gavin Brown. And we just used a new technique, which was when we were working and developing the material, instead of, we generally reference, you listen to other bands and stuff, you'd be like, oh yeah, what was that, song by Air that we loved.
Yeah,
But in this case, we tried to just reference ourselves, so literally self-referential,
sure.
uh, which I think I always thought was a negative thing, but in this case was just a very cool exercise because, our tendency, as you know from our albums, you look at like the Formentera double album was a big, ambitious sonic, cinematic exploration. And we were certainly drawing on all kinds of references and like Terry Gilliam's Brazil and
Mhm.
like various things. But in this case, it was really interesting to be like, what would Metric do? Or like,
Right.
so that was the difference on this one, I would say.
Was there any like I don't want to say concern, but like you don't want to like mimic the album either, though, right?
Yeah, I think we weren't afraid of that because we found that in general, whenever we try to do something that we think is very direct, it's just not.
Sure.
Like, even if if we're referencing something, I'll be like, okay, that's like too obvious a reference. Be like, nobody got it, nobody heard it, nobody. Something about the four of us is, no matter what we do, it ends up being us.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, there weren't any moments where it felt like, okay, we're doing a caricature of ourselves.
Sure.
It was more just like, you know from a emotional development standpoint too, of being a grown up. I mean,
Sure.
I think like most grown ups, you're sort of surprised that you're the grown up, and it's a little bit jarring.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was interesting
Right.
to sort of like look at those more broadly, like what are the aspects of ourselves that we admire, that we think are our best traits, and how do we remember that spirit, and a lot of that was rediscovering what I already knew, I guess, but I keep being reminded is how your best qualities are also your worst qualities.
Right.
So like, that was really it was quite a, all our albums are we dive pretty deep in our relationships with each other, but this one was really cool in that way. I felt like I kind of confronted a lot of my own bullshit more than usual, which was
Sure.
cool.
Sure. So there's no like help I'm still alive on the album.
Right,
Right.
exactly. Or like, whoa, I'm still alive. Yeah, totally.
So you're talking about, growing up and, growing older or whatever. Is lyrically, how have I want to say older songs, but the songs you've done, have they lyrically changed for you? Like when you're singing them? Like, because lyrically, maybe this is why I go back to fantasies and your other stuff. And it's not just your stuff, it's like all music, right? Like lyrically, they change. When you get older, right? Like, I mean, I have kids and like everything just changes. Movies are kind of like that too. But um, how are your songs that you wrote, singing them now? Do they take on different meaning?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some where I think I was imagining myself in the future or
Sure,
something. And like, there's I hesitate to divulge too much about my process because it just it's pretty witchy. Uh,
sure,
so there is a lot of very odd, like premonition sort of letters to my future self stuff that ends up happening where I've written something that is almost seems scripted for the time that it will actually land, even though it was written way in advance. So there's already always been an element of that with the songs. But I mean, I think "Help I'm Alive," that if I'm still alive, my regrets are few. If my life is mine, what shouldn't I do?
sure.
I get wherever I'm going. I get whatever I need while my blood's still flowing and my heart still beats. That's one that feels more profound with time. It's like still true, and my heart is still beating. So that's cool.
Yeah. There's there's a lot of your stuff that is a delightful punch in the face, I would say.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I mean that in the best possible way, whether it's breathing underwater or, whatever. There's just so much to it. I always wonder, like, if I had any musical ability whatsoever, if, on stage, like in the moment, you're feeding off the crowd, but I always wonder in the moment if I'm also thinking of the words that I'm singing, and I'm like, holy shit, like the words that I'm singing, I wrote, and they still resonate with all these people that I'm singing, from like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I always wonder that.
Yeah, it's a trip. I mean, this is where I feel also have always felt sort of a little bit alienated and a little bit perplexed by like what's popular in terms of
Sure.
thematically. I
Yeah.
just don't understand all the romance. Like, and I don't mean my kind of romance, like romanticize the dive, romanticize punk rock, romanticize, I don't know, European espresso, but like, it's like just like I'm just like literally like stroking my imaginary beard when it's like everybody's unified by like a breakup song. But I guess it's because there's universality in that. But to
Sure.
me, those things are so private and I
Yeah.
write all those things in code. But like being to your point, like what's so amazing and how fortunate I feel of the audience that we found, like, we really found our people who I guess share the same feeling, where the lyrics are like, you know, you can really rally around that. And it's sort of a public, like social, conversational, themes that are happening. It's like, yeah, you're with people in life, not like that guy was a dick.
Right. Right.
I just don't, I struggle to see how it's so unifying, but it is for people. So I don't know. I'm just glad I found my crew.
Yeah, and I also think, in case you didn't know, like the world is kind of shitty right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like lyrically, like I know me and a lot of people, we kind of gravitate toward that. We kind of music is the safe haven. And I mean, you're Canadian and like, this is outside looking in. I mean, you're going to be touring the States now, and you have wonderful Canadian bands, your brothers and sisters with you. Like, what is this like now? Tour, and don't get too political if you don't want to. That's fine. But like, what's it like touring the States now, or what's it gonna be like touring the States now?
Well, it's unique to say from the outside, but I'm looking from the outside, but I'm actually also looking from the inside because I'm a dual citizen.
Sure.
My parents are American, um, and I was born in India. I grew up in Canada, but the band, met in New York City. We really started out there, and then LA is where we really found ourselves and found our sound at the Silver Lake Lounge, made our first record there.
Yeah.
I've living in LA again, so I've been actually in the US this year, like since December.
Yeah.
Um, so and that the dual citizen identity is like it's real because it is a feeling of family. And it's very like it's heart-wrenching because it's like the family is being torn apart in this very arbitrary way. There's always been the really significant differences between the two countries, which are, I think, part of the reason my parents came here. They really, embrace the principles of Canada, as do I, having grown up here. And there's definitely a difference, and not just in terms of the size of the country, but ideology and various things. But where it overlaps is really what you want in a family, which is, and in friendship, is like dynamic people who are different, people who can have different opinions and different approaches, but you ultimately share something fundamental,
Sure.
which is the tone and attitude that we were fortunate enough to grow up with, even though it's not like there haven't been our share of political things and things we disagreed with. I disagreed with the Gulf Wars, like all of them, and you could have a conversation with someone who was making another point about that, and you could be like, I disagree for these reasons. But whatever's happening now is really, it's just sad because of that. I think the feeling of the foundation is crumbling in a sort of arbitrary way.
Yeah.
um, but I think what's going to be so great about this tour, about all the feelings, is that this crew of people representing friendship, like getting, in a way, it's just like it's so much bigger than politics. Everything is politics, obviously, technically, but without having to lean into any particular issue. And there are plenty to get very, that are very serious and important to get into. But I think that as a group of people, the energy that we're going to bring is just going to be so good because we're not like, it's not like escapist exactly, but it's like, let's focus on what we have, like look at this. And in so doing, I hope that everyone who's at those shows will be like, yeah, I'm going to gather up my friends who I haven't seen, and we just don't do this anymore. Or, and young kids being like, what the hell? Like, you can start a band with your friends and make music your whole life. It's like, you don't have to just be like a solo artist on your laptop. Like, you can, you know,
Sure.
all of
Sure.
this stuff is really positive. And I don't know if you saw, find this so classic, like the weird psychic connection that we have with our friends. But, our album is obviously called Romanticize the Dive. But you know what the Broken Social Scene album is called?
What?
Remember the Humans.
Ah,
Like,
yeah.
it's so amazing. And
Yeah.
we did not talk about it. And Cav was like, "Oh shit!" Like, we're like, "No, that's amazing."
That's
And
awesome.
it's also like that. It's like, so you have this tour, which is all the feelings, and then you have Remember the People and Romanticize the Dive. Also, Remember the People is so, or sorry, Remember the Humans
Yeah.
is so them.
Yeah.
I'm always like, they're the like fluffy sweater and wear the leather jacket, just
Yeah.
literally.
Yeah.
We're like tougher and scrappier, and they're like, there's way more hummus in the like side. But so I love that, like, we're romanticizing it and they're remembering it, and together, and and then stars are there, holding it all down. And there are people in that band, in those bands, that Jimmy has known since he was 7. This
Sure.
is like really Jimmy's dream. He's the one who put this whole thing together. So
And I would think this is like in the works for a while, no?
yeah,
Or
well, it's been talked about for years. And
yeah.
I think it's a combination of like being of just obviously logistical challenges and lining everybody up, but also we're, at least guess should just speak for myself, but I'm very protective of it because it's real. Like, people are selling, as you well know. you know, as we all know, but like
Yeah.
everyone's selling something, right? And
Yeah.
this is not a casual thing that we're kind of like, this would be a cool thing to represent. Like this is my whole community. And,
Sure.
Amy and I, our lifestyle, we don't even talk shop usually. We're like Amy from Stars, she's my best friend since we were 15, but we're just like hanging out with the kids and it's much more in a civilian realm. So it was definitely something that I was like very cautious about. And we're approaching it with real care because it's so valuable to us. And I genuinely, like, I feel like it's generous to be like, okay, we're going to share this, but let's make sure we don't lose sight of what it is, again.
Right. I mean, and authenticity is so rare, like nowadays. So it's going to be very refreshing. Like
I think so. Yeah.
and the fact you're playing Brooklyn is pretty cool
I
too.
love that venue. And I just found out both nights are sold out. So that
Oh,
was
that's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
That venue is so great.
I've heard. Yeah.
So great. Have you thought about like, are you guys going to play? I know you're going to play separately, obviously, but is there going to be like a big like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame like ending?
I don't know. Is there?
That's a maybe. That's definitely a
I love
maybe.
an embargo.
Yeah, I like that. Have you thought set list at all, like during
Yes.
this tour? Obviously you have, but any details or no?
Well, my policy is, and I advocate for this strongly within the band, is like there's no world where like you don't get to hear the songs that you know and love. So like those
Yeah,
songs are there. There's a
sure.
really hilarious, I'm a big Amy Schumer fan. She had a really great sketch. It was like an early season, but
Yeah.
there was this argument and it was like someone trying to say the meanest thing they possibly could. And the meanest thing was like, I hope you go to see your favorite band and they play only their new songs. It's like, oh,
Hilarious.
that's the cruelest.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
How could you wish that upon me? I laughed so hard about that. So, we love all the new music. But there are 10 albums to pull from. So we have a bit of a formula of like deep cuts, surprises, special things. Obviously, the new albums like Victim of Luck is really connecting with people and we got to play that tune and
Yeah.
uh, so and then there's an extra element of like wow there are all these other musicians so what can happen um, and my song is anthems with Social Scene so I'll definitely be doing that with them and
Sure.
I think it's more than usual there's a lot of possibility for how it could play out but it's
Do you
it's gonna be
do
cool.
you get attached to songs that you're like, I really want to play this, and then you're like, nah, we can't because like the fans are gonna get pissed if we don't play this?
It's funny, like, there's nothing in the repertoire that's like, oh God, we have to play this. We just never did that to ourselves, which is just
Yeah.
amazing. And, you know us. So it's like, if we don't want to do something, we're not going to do it. So
Yeah.
basically, like, I remember we didn't play Black Sheep for like a decade. We were just like, hey, yeah, that tune is in that movie, whatever. And then we were working with Cliff Bernstein, who's a bit of a legend. And he gave us actually some really good advice on Synthetica. Like one was the song Youth Without Youth. He's like, what do you have that's just like a scrap? And I had this thing I'd written on guitar, it was just a verse. And he was like, okay, great. Do like 12 more verses, no chorus. And we were like, okay, whatever you say. We did that. And it was one of our best performing radio songs. We like beat out Red Hot Chili Peppers. It was like 12 weeks at, whatever. It was
Yeah.
amazing. But he came to see us in Nashville, actually at the Ryman, the last time he played the Ryman. And he was like, great, what is wrong with you? Never don't play Black Sheep. Like, what's wrong with you? And we were like, oh yeah, we did that movie. Like, oh yeah, that song. Oh, like your biggest song. Like, can you play it? We're like, oh yeah, totally, totally. Yeah. So we that one, but even that, like that's sort of it's just such a moment in the set and I love it. I love it
Yeah.
all.
So album sequels, like I know it was a double album. Was that planned?
Formentera?
Yeah.
Formentera 1 and 2. Yes, that was planned. Yeah.
Okay. So like you don't have any like sequels planned for any albums.
That one was a unique undertaking
Yeah.
with the Formentera era, pandemic.
Sure.
Um, I feel like anytime anybody says pandemic, everyone sort of gets this weird look in their eye and sort of looks away and
Yeah.
then just kind of goes like, what?
Okay.
Sorry, that just happened to me again. Like every time I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, what? the animals taking over the canals in Venice. I have a vague memory of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is Romanticize the Dive is a one shot
Okay.
party. Mhm.
So just last question. If like your band like came with a tagline, like movies like used to come with like taglines,
Yeah.
like
Oh my God,
what
I
would it
have it.
be? You have it?
Yes, because it was we were just talking about this because we just wrapped production rehearsal.
Yeah,
And we're like, where did that phrase come from that we used to have on like our MySpace or something? And it's we're in the prime of your youth,
I like it.
your youth.
You were supposed to struggle with that question.
You got,
Motherfucker.
it's hard to throw it at me. That's so funny in interviews when they do that, where it's like
Yeah.
weird, like crazy, like quiz questions. It's
Yeah.
so stressful. Yeah, no, not
All right.
happening.
Who has the best mustache of all time?
My dad,
Okay, I'll take it.
it was a brushy, thick one, crucially
Okay.
wide, you know,
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't
hard
like
to stump me.
that wasn't like a gotcha question.
Yeah, right.
I always like to like end it with like a weird kind of, you know?
Right. Yeah, I'll tell my publicist to be like, really hard hitting,
Yeah. No,
at the end.
this is not a Barbara Walters moment.
Oh, thanks for a great
You
conversation.
know, listen, have a
So
great
fun.
tour. Like you guys, seriously, you're my go-to
We're gonna
always.
bring the love for sure. So
Yeah.
you coming to both nights?
I'm definitely coming to one night
That's a good idea. Choose
without a
one.
doubt.
Love it.
I might have to come to both nights.
If
You know what?
if you need a hookup, let us know.
Yeah. Listen, I'll tell you, like setlist.fm ruins a lot of moments. I like to be surprised, but it's there.
You got
But
to look
like,
away. Look
gotta
away.
look away. It's true. Live in the moment.
Hell yeah. Protect
All right.
yourself.
All right.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Thanks. Great chatting with you.
All right. See you.
Peace.